Okay, let's just get right into it. There's this one thing we all want, we all kind of struggle to get, and most of us feel like we're just failing at it. I'm talking about sleep, of course. But what if the big goal we've all been chasing, that magic number 8 hours, is actually missing the point entirely? Today we're going to look at a totally new, science-backed way to think about rest.
I mean, seriously, who hasn't? You look at the clock, you do the math in your head, and then boom! This wave of guilt just washes over you. It's been drilled into our heads forever that anything less than 8 hours a night means you've failed. But what if all that guilt is completely, totally misplaced?
You know what? It's time to just shatter that number. Let's get rid of it, because the latest thinking suggests our obsession with the quantity of sleep we get might be the very thing wrecking its quality.
So let's try to reframe this whole thing. It's really time to shift our focus from just, logging hours in bed to understanding what our brain actually needs to feel rested and restored. And the answer? It's all about quality and consistency.
Okay, so this right here, this one idea, it changes everything. Your brain isn't sitting there with a stopwatch timing you. It's running a program. And what it wants, what it craves, is predictable, high-quality cycles of rest, not just some arbitrary number of hours. It's about creating a rhythm, right? A dependable pattern that your body can count on night after night.
So, how does this actually work then? Well, to really unlock this new approach, we first got to understand the mechanics of what's happening when you close your eyes. Because it's not just one long blackout period, it's this fascinating, really structured journey your brain goes on. So, meet the sleep cycle. This is the fundamental building block of your night's rest. Think of it like a 90-minute wash and rinse cycle for your brain and your body. Your entire night is really just a series of these cycles, stacked right up against each other. And inside each of those cycles, you've got two superstars. First, there's deep sleep. This is like your body's overnight repair crew, fixing muscles and tissues. And then you've got REM sleep, that's rapid eye movement, which is kind of like the brain's IT department. It's sorting files, consolidating memories, and doing all that essential system maintenance. You absolutely need both of them.
So here's what one of those 90-minute journeys looks like. You start by just drifting off into light sleep, then you settle in, getting a little deeper. The third stop is that crucial deep dive for all that physical repair. And then you finish with the brain reboot of REM sleep. And then, the whole thing just starts all over again.
Okay, so now that we get the building blocks, these 90-minute cycles, we can finally connect all that science to a practical, honestly game-changing solution. And this is where that idea of 5 hours comes into play.
There it is. Not 8, not 7, 5. And look, this isn't just some random number we pulled out of thin air. It's a number based directly on the biology of our sleep cycles. It represents a target for getting truly restorative sleep.
It's the obvious question, right? I mean, it kind of sounds too good to be true, maybe even a little irresponsible, but the logic behind it is actually incredibly simple and, well, kind of beautiful.
Here's the math. It's plain and simple. Each sleep cycle is about 90 minutes long. So if you can complete 3 of those cycles without being interrupted, you get around 4.5 to 5 hours of incredibly high-quality restorative sleep. See? The goal isn't to maximize the time, it's to maximize the number of completed cycles.
And this is the key to the whole thing. Have you ever woken up after 8, even 9 hours and felt just exhausted and groggy? You were probably yanked out of bed by your alarm right in the middle of a deep sleep cycle. The real secret to feeling refreshed is waking up at the end of a cycle, during a lighter stage of sleep, no matter how many total hours you got.
So how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice? Let's boil it all down into a few clear, actionable rules for mastering your 5 hours and finally working with your body's natural rhythm.
First thing, consistency is king. Going to bed and waking up at the same time, and even on weekends, it trains your body. Second, you gotta honor your cycles. So, if you need to be up at 6:30 a.m., just count backward in 90-minute chunks to find your perfect bedtime. And finally, none of this works without quality. You have to make your bedroom a sanctuary, dark, quiet, and cool. If you only take one thing away from all this, let it be this. Stop fighting against the clock and start working with your own biology. It's a huge shift from counting hours to counting cycles, and it can make all the difference in the world in how you feel when you wake up. And that leads me to one last thought here. If waking up at the end of a cycle is so important, what is that snooze button really doing? Well, it lets you fall back asleep, just for a few minutes, only to be jolted awake again right as a new, fragile cycle is trying to begin. So, what if the biggest enemy to feeling refreshed isn't how long you sleep, but how you choose to wake up? Something to think about.